It is with a profound sense of urgency and responsibility that I stand before you today representing the Republic of Vanuatu and the Melanesian Spearhead Group in these historic proceedings. The outcome of these proceedings will reverberate across generations, determining the fate of nations like mine and the future of our planet. Vanuatu is a nation of islands and island peoples. Our peoples have built vibrant cultures and traditions over millennia that are intimately intertwined with our ancestral lands and seas. Yet today, we find ourselves on the front lines of a crisis we did not create. A crisis that threatens our very existence and that of so many other peoples who have come in unprecedented numbers to be heard by this court. The conduct on trial here is that of states, which have failed for over a century, despite increasingly dire warnings, to rein in the emissions from their territories. I must emphasize that since 1990, emissions have increased by over 50%, reaching an all-time high in 2023 last year. More than half of all CO2 emissions since 1750 were emitted after 1990. Whatever the time frame, there is no excuse. A handful of readily identifiable states have produced the vast majority of historic and current greenhouse gas emissions. Yet other countries, including my own, are suffering the brunt of the consequences. The IPCC has recognized this climate injustice, stating, and I quote, "Vulnerable communities who have historically contributed the least to current climate change are disproportionately affected," end quote. Mr. President, Madam Vice President, members of the court, our delegation has just returned from the recent COP29 in Baku, where we witnessed firsthand, once again, the failure of the process. It is unconscionable that the COP failed to reach any agreement on cutting emissions. The current emission reduction commitments of states, even if fully respected, will see a catastrophic increase in temperature. For many people, including in Vanuatu, the prolonged and systematic failure of the COP process has cost them their well-being, their cultures, and even their lives. There is an urgent need for a collective response to climate change grounded not in political convenience, but in international law. The court, as the principal organ of the United Nations, is uniquely positioned to provide authoritative guidance regarding the entire corpus of international law. We look to the court for recognition that the conduct which has already caused immense harm to my people and so many others is unlawful, that it must cease, and that its consequences must be repaired. In closing, I choose my words carefully when I say that this may well be the most consequential case in the history of humanity. Let us not allow future generations to look back and wonder why the cause of their doom was condoned.